You get to buy this video for your very own. Nice color footage of a very expensive piece of ass.
In 1974, writer Elmore Leonard released his novel 52 Pickup, a rough modern-day crime drama that would take about 10 years to first make its way to the big screen as a film in the form of director J. Lee Thompson's The Ambassador. The Ambassador starred Robert Mitchum, Ellen Burstyn, and Rock Hudson. This version of Leonard's book takes the basic blackmail plot, but the rest of the film becomes a political dissertation on the PLO and Israeli conflict at that time. Gone is the gritty crime part and classic Elmore Leonard dialogue, and instead that's replaced by the conflict in the Middle East. Cannon film producers Golan and Globus had purchased the rights to the book and produced this version. John Frankenheimer was coming off another adapted novel to film, The Holcroft Covenant, based on the Robert Ludlum bestseller. Frankenheimer's career had kind of stalled at this point. He was also dealing with rehab stints in the mid-'80s. While waiting to board a plane home one day, he picked up the novel 52 Pickup at the airport and read it on the plane. He immediately called his agent and inquired about the rights. He was informed that Cannon still owned the rights and had just done an adaptation a few years ago. Frankenheimer was interested in taking a crack at it because the film The Ambassador was not widely seen, and Golan and Globus were eager to work with John Frankenheimer. Once word spread that Frankenheimer was on board, actor Roy Scheider, a fan of the novel and Leonard in general, called and asked to be cast in the film. Frankenheimer had actually always wanted to work with him as well, and although the Go-Go Boys were not initially on board, they eventually said okay to Schreider being cast.
Oh, you're pretty convincing, all right. But I'm still not sure I've got the right guy.
Cannon had hired an up-and-coming screenwriter to write this new adaptation, much to the chagrin of Frankenheimer. Once the script was handed in, Frankenheimer hated it and contacted Elmore Leonard himself and told him what the issue was. Leonard understood, but told Frankenheimer that he had given up screenwriting because he hated the process of all the notes and constant changes, but he felt compelled to help because he liked John's work very much. To lessen Leonard's load, Roy Scheider came on board, and all three men eventually hashed out a new script, which all parties were extremely happy with. With a small budget and a non-union shoot in LA, Frankenheimer had to get creative with his crew. He picked up Das Boot cinematographer Jost Facano because he was non-union, and after a few run-ins with the unions, they carefully planned their shoot in and around Los Angeles.
You swim good. Has good strong legs, a terrific ass. Nice rack.
Rounding out the cast was bad guy John Glover, Clarence Williams III, the legendary Ann-Margret, and newcomers Vanity, and a very young Kelly Preston.
Hey, now, you listen to me a minute.
This film, again, like Seconds, deals with a middle-aged man, this time named Harry Mitchell, who, like Mr. Wilson in Seconds, has a failed marriage. And although he doesn't go as far as cosmetically altering his face and faking his own death, he does carry on a second life with a very young 20-year-old Kelly Preston as Cindy, who is a stripper. Harry's wife Barbara is a political candidate whose career is just now ticking up. Their marriage, however, is seemingly dead as a doornail, and both parties are clearly aware and in denial all at once. Both parties have a lot to lose if Harry's affair is revealed, and once he is blackmailed by a series of three masked thugs, Harry comes to the realization that maybe his wife does deserve better than this, and he decides to fight, not so much for himself, but for her future, which will be destroyed if his failures as a husband are thrown into her political campaign.
So why don't you be a good boy and stick around for another 5 minutes, okay?
Take care.
So long, sport.
This struggle triggers new emotions in the ex-military member and throws him into LA's underworld of pornography, where he must go down a dark and seedy path in order to fix his wrongdoings. When watching this film, There is an air of excitement when you start to think of John Frankenheimer DJing at a seedy Elmore Leonard party. It is a shame that this pairing never occurred again, because this film remains a testament to both men's strengths as storytellers. The first shot in the film of the aerial view of the LA skyline, right down into a swimming pool, reveals pretty much all we need to know about Harry's character. At least it hints at what's to come. Yost Vacano's lighting with the shades and blinds are great LA noir touches. The first scene of the kidnappers, showing Harry the tape of his affair with his reflection in the television, harkens back to Frankenheimer's use of TV monitors in The Manchurian Candidate. He uses the available technology at the time in the 80s that the villains of the piece used to make their dirty little movies. Frankenheimer is able to masterfully integrate that technology into the narrative with great ease. John Glover's character of Alan is a person who thrives on material things, and it's also apparent from Frankenheimer's past comments of having lived in Europe that he saw America differently.
There she is again, in your very snappy car. I must say, very snappy indeed.
When Alan comments on how much he loves Mitchell's car and Preston's outfits, you can sense that the director is perhaps making a little commentary that the bad guy wants what Harry has, success. And with that comes money, and with that comes pretty women. It's the American dream, and one has it and the other doesn't. One of Alan's cohorts is the flat-out menacing and confusing character of Clarence Williams III. He is working on another level here. In fact, Frankenheimer and he would work together many more times, as they clearly have a unique bond.
Need a Band-Aid?
Then there is the hyper Robert Trebor as Leo, the porn store owner. Leo almost steals the show, as he later reveals his intentions for the ransom money are not exactly what we think it might be.
Open it up, huh? Looking good, just like we thought it would.
After mocking the masked trio with a fake payoff payment, he is again captured and forced to watch more footage of his young lover Cindy, only this time, and to his and the audience's complete shock, we watch as she dies in a very brutal, almost too real snuff film. It is a powerful and shocking scene, shot with total and complete restraint from Frankenheimer. He does not try to be fancy here. He puts you, the viewer, in Harry's shoes and forces you to watch the horror as he is. Roy Scheider is a real discovery in this film. Now that may seem kind of odd to say as we are in the later stages of his career, but he really wanted this role, and you can see why. The pain he's able to carry in his face over the guilt he feels is very tangible. It is a truly remarkable performance. Here is a character who is someone with a past, present, and future, but has lost his way a bit, and by straying, he has entered a world in which he may not ever return from. He is not so much afraid of it, but rather what he may become once he returns from it.
I'll wait to see what happens to you. Then I'll know if they're serious.
Another interesting connection to the film's seconds is the conversation Margaret and Scheider have about his affair. It is similar to the one in Seconds, where Mr. Wilson returns to his former wife, who doesn't know it's him, and they chat about each other in a very honest fashion. Here, though, they each know who the other is, and the conversation is honest, and like the snuff film from earlier, Frankenheimer makes you listen to every horrible detail of their broken relationship. Clarence Williams III floats in this film. There are several scenes, like the one at the porn party, where he clearly couldn't care less of any of the sex-related things going on behind him. And the shot of him exiting the Dodgers game and into Alan's car is so cool that only John Frankenheimer can pull off something like that. This film shows off LA in a kind of a new way. It's not the typical LA location film. Gone are any of the staple Hollywood images and the like. Here we are in an industrial part of Los Angeles, one in which glamour is not the focus so much as is the dirty part of the business. It exposes an underbelly of LA, one not commonly seen except maybe in films like 8 Million Ways to Die and Friedkin's To Live and Die in LA come to mind. Yet the desires of LA are there in Alan's character.
Wish we had some popcorn or lemonade or something for you, but we're kind of low-budget production.
Even in the utter darkness of the snuff film, he comments on the lighting and the camera angles used to capture Cindy's death to Harry.
I'm so proud of my lighting in this. It's beautiful, isn't it?
But here, it's not the typical LA glamorization of a death scene, for it's in a dark industrial warehouse, far away from any such cool location. Frankenheimer almost seems to be deconstructing the glamour of violence here. The scene of Harry taking Polaroids of Cindy's best friend Vanity are extremely creepy. From the wood paneling cheap set, we are now conditioned to expect the worst from here on out. But Frankenheimer just places you in these seedy locations that we immediately want to exit from and wash our hands. This is Vanity's character's reality. She is famous in this setting, and in her mind, she has made it. This is her Hollywood set, and she is in complete control. One thing that all Frankenheimer films do well is the use of the wide angle, and Frankenheimer's device of having the actors walk in and out of close-ups without cutting using extremely wide-angle lenses. The master shot at Alan's clubhouse lets all three actors play the scene out like a mini play on stage, but using their physicality to change the focus of the film. Other directors like, say, De Palma would probably use a diopter lens technique to keep both actors in focus. This is a much different feel, and it keeps you in the reality of John's film. Another scene that John just lets play out is where Clarence Williams and Vanity go at it on the bed.
You're not answering my questions. No, you're not answering my questions.
There is no music, nothing but acting and breathing, which makes it feel like we are spying on them. It's a very tense moment.
But I believe everybody.
Harry, unlike Mitch and the ambassador, starts to take things back from the bad guys. He takes the fight to them to see if they can handle it.
I'm the guy. Give me the money.
Hey, don't touch me!
Something about your face makes me want to slap the shit out of it.
And it's not just by force, it's psychologically. The scene of Roy, Ann, and Clarence Williams talking is a great example of this. Harry realizes that he may have a gun on him, but that it's not enough, so he concocts a very believable story that plants seeds of doubt in his mind about his own boss's motives. This move impresses Ann, and it even somewhat revitalizes their relationship for a moment when he admits to her,
Really fucked up, didn't I?
she had probably been waiting 20 years to hear him say that. Alan's never waning disdain for Harry's life extends to his relationship with Ann-Margret too. This film explores some really dark sides of humanity. It reminds me a little bit of Paul Schrader's Hardcore, but I find it to be kind of cousins to Brian De Palma's Body Double. In fact, I can see these characters all existing in the same world. Whereas in De Palma's world, Hollywood and porn kind of coexist, here they really don't, and one wants to be the other. You could totally see Craig Wasson's character from Body Double hanging out in the same bar as Roy Scheider's character from 52 Pickup.
Let's quit the dancing. I've got the money.
I've been thinking about you. I've been getting bad vibes.
The final scene is also very telling of not just Frankenheimer's stance on the consumerism craze of America, but also of Leonard's cruel underworld of criminals, whose main desire is to be legit.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
When Glover enters Harry's new Jaguar, which he specifically requested with his $52,000, he discovers that everything he ever wanted is about to be gone as soon as he got it.
So long, sport.
This also illustrates how Harry has changed. He's now willing to destroy what he once loved more than his wife. He rejects the notions of material things in favor of a real person that gives love back to him in return.
Roy Scheider, Ann-Margret, and Vanity in John Frankenheimer's suspense thriller, 52 Pickup, from acclaimed novelist Elmore Leonard's gripping bestseller.